Okay, this is part 3 of my reviewer in introduction to Philippine criminal justice system. Okay, let's start with number 1. Mr. B was arrested by virtue of warrant of arrest issued by Judge C for the crime of rape. He was brought to the court to formally inform him of the nature and the cause of accusation against him, which the following is being articulated. So he was brought to the court after he was arrested. He was brought to the court so that he will be informed of the nature and the cause of accusation against him. Which one is being described? So when is this right complied with? It is during arraignment. During the purpose of arraignment is to formally inform the accused of the nature and cause of accusation against him. 2. The following are the requisites for trial in absentia. Okay, when you see trial in absentia, even if the accused is not present during trial, the trial will proceed. And that is trial in absentia. Okay? Okay, remember trial in absentia, even if the accused will not attend or will not appear during trial, the trial will continue. And it's called trial in absentia. But there are requisites or requirements. But what is being asked in the question is exception, which is the one is not a requirement. So the answer here is there is pending petition for review with the Secretary of Justice. It will not stop or toll the trial in absentia. What are the requirements for trial in absentia? There must be arraignment. The accused has been arraigned. Tapos na arraignment. The accused has been notified of the trial. There was a notice of hearing. And his failure to appear is unjustified. So, tapos na ang arraignment. The accused was duly notified and his failure to appear is unjustified. Then the trial will continue. And that is what we call trial in absentia. But this one, there is pending petition for review with Secretary of Justice. This will not stop the trial in absentia. Okay. Number 3. Mr. E was charged with homicide. He moved for dismissal of the case based on insufficiency of evidence after prosecution rested this case. Which is the following did Mr. A filed? So he moved for the dismissal, motion to dismiss, and on the ground of insufficiency of evidence. So if you will find this term insufficiency of evidence, that is the only ground for demurrer to evidence. This is a motion to dismiss petition, but the only ground here is insufficiency of evidence, and it is filed after the prosecution rested its case. Okay. 4. Mr. F was charged with qualified theft. Okay, qualified theft ang kaso. Mr. F was arrested and was brought to the court. During pre-trial, the following was considered. Which the following was not conducted during pre-trial. So, what happened during pre-trial? There are many things will happen during pre-trial. So, what is being asked here is, which of the following is not conducted during pre-trial? Well, of course, arraignment. Arraignment is not part of pre-trial. Because after arraignment, saka pa lang mag-pre-trial. During pre-trial, there is plea bargaining, there is stipulation of facts, and there is marking for identification evidence. But arraignment is not part of pre-trial. Okay? 5. When 2 or more persons are jointly charged with the commission of offense, the court may direct 1 or more of the accused to be discharged with their consent so that they may be a witness for the state and the following witness admit. The exception is simple lang to, 2 or more persons will charge. One of them will become a state witness, a witness for the state. But there are qualifications. Okay, may requirements. What is being asked here is the exception. Alin dito ang hindi requirements? Well, the answer is this one. The said accused appears to be the most guilty. Because one of the requirements is the said accused does not appear to be the most guilty. So this statement is wrong. Said accused appears to be the most guilty. This is wrong. But the proper term or the proper sentence or requisite here should supposedly is the accused appear the accused does not appear to be the most guilty. That's the requirement. That's the requirement to become a state witness. Okay? But that is not in this case. 6. If after arraignment, the court allows John to post bail and subsequently granted temporary liberty. However, he jumped bail. Hindi na nagpakita sa korte and never appeared in court. What will happen to the case? Now, remember, there was already an arraignment. Tapos ng arraignment. Nag-bail. Nag-post ng bail. He was granted temporary liberty. And he jumped bail. Hindi na nagpakita sa korte. What will happen to the case? Will it be continue or it will stop? No, the answer is it will continue. And the court will conduct trial in absentia. Okay? Why? Why trial in absentia? Because it was conducted after arraignment. It was conducted after arraignment. So, trial in absentia. If the arraignment was not conducted yet, and the accused post bail and got temporary liberty and he jumped bail, hindi na report sa korte, then that's it will be archived. Itatago yung kaso. Archive means itatago. No? But this time, tapos na kasi ang arraignment, the arraignment is already done, so the case will continue, and it is called trial in absentia. Okay, it is called trial in absentia. 7. What is the type of jail under the supervision of BJMP? So, under supervision of BJMP, the type of jail that is under the supervision is, of course, the city municipal jail. Provincial jail and sub-provincial is under the governor or the provincial government. Like the CPDRC, that's under Gwen Garcia. Lockups, ito yung nasa police station. Insular, ito yung mga national penitentiaries natin. Under naman yan ng Bucor or Bureau of Correction. During the Senate inquiry, Senator C asked questions to Mr. D if the latter has 10 million in his bank account. Can Mr. D refuse to answer the question? Okay, so can he refuse to answer the question? Actually, yes, by invoking the right against self-incrimination. Okay? By invoking the right against self-incrimination. You can refuse to answer the question. Okay? Kasi if you will answer that, and if you cannot justify the 10 million pesos in your bank account, then you can be charged with money laundering. Okay? You can be charged with money laundering. So that's to protect you from charge. You can invoke right against self-incrimination. Okay? Right against self-incrimination. 9. The decision rendered by the Municipal Court is available in. So, after MTC, talo ka, you lose the case in MTC, what will you do? You will appeal. Where will you appeal? You will appeal to the next higher court, and that is the Regional Trial Court. So, from MTC to RTC. From RTC to Court of Appeals. From Court of Appeals to Supreme Court. Okay? So, that's what we call hierarchy of courts. 10. The accused jumps bail and fails to appear on the promulgation of judgment where he is found guilty. What is the consequence of the absence? Now, he jumps bail, he fails to appear during judgment. Okay? What is the consequence of that absence during the promulgation of judgment? Well, the judgment will be promulgated in his absence and he loses his right of appeal. He cannot appeal because he failed to appear during promulgation of judgment. That is the consequence. Pag hindi ka naka-attend during promulgation of judgment, hindi ka pwede mag-appeal. Walang appeal dyan. Okay? Judgment shall be promulgated in his absence and he loses his right of appeal. No? 11. Mr. K killed Mr. L while the latter was in deep slumber. Well, tulog, no? This is in retaliation of the act of Mr. L of killing Mr. M. Okay? Mr. K's brother. Which of the following is being articulated in that scenario? So, the keyword is retaliation. If you saw the word retaliation, that is retribution. No? Similar yan sila. Synonymous yan sila. Retaliation and retribution. So, the purpose of the killing is to avenge. Okay? Avenge. That will be retribution. 12. President A is empowered under the Constitution to suspend the execution penalty, reduce the sentence, extinguish criminal liability. This is called, well, President. So, President is the Chief Executive, so it is Executive Clemency. Okay? Executive Clemency, President. Bakit? Kasi nga, President is the Chief Executive Officer ng Pilipinas. Legislative clemency sa Congress naman to. Judicial clemency, this is, of course, sa court, like Prosecution, that's judicial clemency. President's clemency, there's no such term as this. No? Executive clemency ang gamit. 13. The release or requisites of any person in custody or detention for commission of offense is a matter of right. When the offense is punishable by death, it should be life imprisonment. Now, release or requisites is a matter of right. When the offense is punishable by death, reclusion perpetual and life imprisonment. The statement is, of course, wholly false. Remember this one. If the crime is punishable by L, D, and R, D and long distance relationship, that is life imprisonment, death penalty, reclusion perpetua, okay? Then, bail is not a matter of right. Bail is not a matter of right. So that the statement is wholly false. Wholly false. 14. Mr. K was charged with serious physical injury. After prosecution rests its case, Mr. K believes that the prosecution failed to establish the guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Which is the following way Mr. K used in order to dismiss the case. So remember, the ground of dismissal is the prosecution failed to establish the guilt beyond reasonable doubt. And if you have this one, you can file what we call demurrer to evidence. It's still demurrer to evidence. Okay? If the prosecution failed to establish the guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Okay? 15. Mr. E was convicted for homicide. He appealed his case with the Court of Appeals. What is the nature of right of appeal? Okay? The question is, what is the nature of right of appeal? Is it constitutional right? Is it international right? Is it right of the accused? Or is it statutory right? The right to appeal is only a statutory right. Okay? It's only statutory. What do you mean by statutory, sir? You say statutory, it's statutes. When you say statute, it's law. Right to appeal is a right provided by a law. That's why it's called statutory right. 16. Mr. F committed a crime of rape with homicide. RTC Judge issued warrant of arrest against Mr. F. However, Mr. F was never arrested despite the issuance of warrant of arrest. Okay? He was charged. There was warrant of arrest, but he was never arrested. Okay? He was never arrested despite the issuance of warrant of arrest. What will happen to the case of Mr. F? Should it continue or should it stop? Well, the case will be archived. It will stop. Why? Because he was not arrested. And remember, the trial cannot proceed because there is no arraignment yet. If there is after arraignment, he jumped bail, he failed to appear in court anymore, then the trial will continue. Trial in absentia tawag doon pag after arraignment. Pag wala pang arraignment, the case will be archived. Itatago yung kaso. Just like this one. No? There was no yet an arraignment, so it will be archived. Okay, thank you. I think that will be all for this reviewer. And good luck sa diagnostic exam nyo.